And good morning. It's 7:03 on this Wednesday, March 4th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Down the field. Well, hello, everybody. We welcome you to our program and glad to have you with us and thankful to be on the air this morning. We weren't able to be yesterday because Middle Tennessee Electric didn't provide us the power. And, of course, we all know why. They have had a big job to try to restore the electricity, and thankful that they did get on about noon yesterday, a little after noon, I'm told. But I was here, and we stuck around for an hour, but nothing happening. And let me say that we are glad to have Bob McDonald here this morning, President, CEO, Cedarstone Bank. And, Bob, good morning to you, and welcome again.
Good morning, Coleman. Good to be back with you. Difficult day yesterday, wasn't it? And
it was.
I know you've got the mayor coming on at some point this morning, and I know y'all have a detailed discussion about that. But I just want to say how much our hearts and prayers go out to everyone who's affected. You know, we're all affected some way, right?
Yeah,
I mean, if our home wasn't impacted, or if our business, well, we know someone who was, and so we're all affected, and our hearts and prayers certainly go out, because that storm hit everywhere where we are. It hit in Donaldson, and it hit in Mount Juliet, and it hit in Lebanon, and so we stand ready to support our community in any way that we can, and we look forward to finding those ways. And you know, we had power out at our Nashville office, and we had power out here in Lebanon. We had power in Mount Juliet, but the power came up very quickly. I think it was around noon.
Yeah.
That's when
Well, you actually had power in Mount Juliet, but not here.
That's right.
Huh.
So, but Robert reported to me that they're in Donaldson by about noon or 12:30. That NES had us back up.
Yeah.
Of course, Middle Tennessee Electric had us up about the same time here. So they are working hard. Our thanks to them. And
Well, they have ways of rerouting, but if you've got lines down everywhere, there may not be any way to reroute it. I don't know that much about it, but I think they do a great job in getting it back on as quickly as they do.
Well, one thing we know for sure is, you know, we've dealt with unfortunate situations in our community before, and we've come together, and no doubt that we will do that again here. So I know that we're all going to do our part.
But here again, if people need monetary assistance, that's what your bank is for.
Oh, indeed. Indeed. I mean, we stand ready to support people who need to do work to their home or to their business, and but whether it's with banking services or social services, we stand ready to help.
I would not like to be a property and casualty insurance agent right now.
They're going to be busy for the next coming days.
All the claims that they're going to have to, somebody's going to have to handle, but that's why you have insurance for times like these.
That is exactly right, and of course you were in the insurance business for a number of years,
but only on the health side.
Well, but that too bears risk, right?
You got it. Yes, sir.
That's what it's all about.
Well, the fact that we couldn't be on the air yesterday, I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those things, and we're just glad to be today. And, of course, glad to have you here every Wednesday to talk about Cedarstone Bank. But really, as you said, you're right, almost right in the middle of the whole tornado path here, when you think about it.
We were, Susan and I were up early Tuesday morning watching things and trying to get a feel for what all was going on, and it was moving very rapidly and very aggressively, obviously. So we'll be having a conference call when I get back to the bank after I'm with you, and we'll be assessing again our different communities and making sure that the bank's functionality is in full force, and which I anticipate that it will be.
Yeah. Well, as we think about the damage, I'm not so sure that Cookeville hadn't had it, Putnam County hadn't had it rougher than anybody. They're talking about up to 35 people still missing.
Yeah. And, there's Cookeville and Lebanon, we have a lot of commonality, I mean, I'm surprised at the number of people who live in Lebanon or work in Cookeville or vice versa.
Yeah.
We have a lot of customers who have family who live in Cookeville. So we heard a lot about their situation yesterday just from those connections. And so we certainly hope and pray that those people are protected and are taken care of.
Well, coming up on part two this morning, the mayor will be here, and he's going to have, I think, Sergeant P.J. Hardy with him as well. We'll have a good report, so everybody stay with us.
I look forward to
We've got
it.
something very important coming up after you that we do every month as well. Keep that as a surprise if you're.
I know it. It's always a great program.
But
Always
you have money to lend. We always say that you can get your loan at Cedarstone, and especially now if you're in a trying situation, Bob has got his hand out here and will help any way he can.
We are here to help.
But we still need to just remind everybody before you leave this morning that checking account is free at Cedarstone, and it's one of the great things that you've offered from the very beginning.
It is. It's a good program. It's a good product, and it remains our foundation. And it is a free checking account, free in every way. And we look forward to offering that to your listeners who are not currently with us. And we look forward to your show today, Coleman. I know you've got a lot of good information for us, and you got some good programs. We look forward to learning more about what we can do.
All right. Well, thank you for coming out today. Tell Susan hello. I'm sure she's doing well.
Thanks,
and we'll
Coleman.
see you or somebody next Wednesday and do it all over again. Cedarstone Bank, Lebanon, Mount Juliet, Donaldson, simple banking, simply better. 10 minutes after the hour, and Miss Ruth is here this morning from the UT Extension Office. Ruth Carell. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. Should I say I blew in?
I think that would be apropos, as we say. We're glad to see you. Are you okay?
Yeah, we are fine. It was amazing. I was out and about over the county where I could get yesterday, and it seemed like that tornado followed I-40 corridor, and south of I-40, even early yesterday morning, had electricity, and you went north of I-40, here in Lebanon, and no electricity. So it was kind of amazing. But isn't it amazing what a weather event can do, the power of that storm?
You're exactly right. And I'll tell you what, Helen and I probably wouldn't even known about it if her sister hadn't called us. It seemed like in the middle of the night, sometime after midnight, I think, and said, there's a tornado on the way. And, of course, by the time we got to looking at the radar, we could see that it was to the south, and we wasn't going to affect us. In fact, it was probably almost to Tucker's Crossroads by the time we really got our bearings there. But I would have probably woke up yesterday morning not knowing anything had happened.
Well, that's exactly what happened to me. Usually our phones go off, that type of thing. And Laney and I had waited until 11 o'clock because I had filled in for Lucas at Master Gardener, and I didn't even get home probably until 9:30 or so. We watched the storm. It didn't look like there was anything west of us. And then I get up yesterday morning about 5 o'clock because it's raining hard, and I just happened to turn the TV on, and I said, oh, my gosh. So I grabbed on my clothes and took off to Lebanon, but it didn't do me a lot of good. I couldn't get around anywhere.
Well, we'll be talking more about that on the second half this morning. But there's been, of course, a lot of roads had to be travel restricted there because of all the damage. And I went out Leeville Pike yesterday. It was amazing the lines that are down in the fields out there.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Utility poles just broken. The wind broke them over, and the pole and the line went over in the field. And of course we had some areas here in town. I think Walmart and Lowe's, and we'll find out more about that. But they've been hard hit, and that part of town you couldn't go through.
Right. Yes. I mean, to see the damage after an event like this, and my heart goes out to the people in Putnam County still,
Yes.
because they are still uncertain, I'm sure, about loved ones. Okay, there, and I just can't imagine what it feels like to be in that position this morning. Okay. Yes.
Well, what do you have for us today?
Well, things are going on. Yesterday, I was out and about in the county and trying to call in the county where people had cell service to see if there were agricultural issues, wanting to help out in any way that we can, if we need to get them some kind of services, whatever. Turned out that I think we have probably escaped some things. If you remember, and I didn't realize until they were talking about it yesterday that in 2008 we had the tornado that came through Nashville, hit Hartsville. Mm-hmm. Now Hartsville, Trousdale County got hit rather hard that time, and there was a lot of agricultural needs at that time.
I believe that's the time we had that thing over at Castellan Springs, the Texas Eastern or some gas thing.
That is correct. Explosion. Yes, okay. A lot of fences torn down over there, that type of thing. And I didn't realize that was a Super Tuesday. They were talking yesterday about that being a Super Tuesday as well. So
that escaped me too.
Yeah, quite a coincidence there. But anyway, I think now, yes, we have damaged barns, buildings, things like that. But as far as I know, livestock are contained within perimeter fences, so forth. I did not hear about any out yesterday. And everybody is out trying to recover from the damage, okay?
Okay, that's a good place for us to take a break. Ruth Carell with the UT Extension office is here, and we'll have a break and more coming up on Coleman Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:14. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank Bates Ford. Regular price oil change. Regular oil change is $28.95 up to 5 quarts of oil. Tax and disposal, $16.73. West Main. Now at traffic. Here's Chuck.
Good morning. They're quickly trying to finish up the paperwork on this wreck. It happened earlier on 24 eastbound on the Solomon Evans Bridge just past Shelby. It is looking a little bit better through there. Now there's a wreck on 65 southbound. It's between OHB and Briley Parkway as that traffic volume starts to increase through Madison right now. Of course, there's still a lot of streets that have been devastated with a lot of power lines down and so forth in Germantown. 5 Points, you're going to need to stay away from that area for at least the next couple of weeks. Hey, the Music City Irish Fest in Nashville kicks off soon, March 14. Check it out online, MusicCityIrishFest.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
This is Bob McDonough with Cedar Stone Bank. We know there are times when financial circumstances can be complicated for families and businesses, but we do not believe the solutions need to be. That's why for 15 years we've been delivering simple banking to our customers while still offering all services and products. We're thankful for our customers and the communities that we serve. If you don't bank with us, it would be our pleasure to visit with you and talk about how simple banking is simply better.
Cedar Stone Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
You see it in their smile, you read it in their reviews, and you hear it all over town. People love the way they're treated at Wilson County Motors. Honest, upfront pricing, top dollar on every trade, and one of the largest selections of new and pre-owned vehicles around. Wilson County Motors aims to exceed your expectations in every way possible. Get your Mitchell discount at Wilson County Motors in Lebanon, just 20 minutes east of the Nashville airport. WilsonCountyMotors.com.
Coleman & Company, Ruth Carell is with us. I'm going to take this maybe a minute or so, just kind of off the top of my head to tell you about the election results. The sales tax referendum did pass in the neighborhood of 55% for to 45% against. In the judgeship, Mr. Collins won that over the other two Republican candidates. And in the race for the county commission seat, Rusty Keith defeated Joe Ali. And I believe Joe Biden might have carried the county, I think he did, in the Democratic presidential primary. So that's as much as I can remember off the top of my head, but that a lot of people probably already know that, but if you didn't, that's the way it turned out. You've got some more for us this morning.
Yeah, well, I had not kept up with the election, Coleman. I guess other things had been taking my attention, yesterday with a storm. Yes, one of the things that Shelley Barnes wanted me to mention to everybody was being safe about food care during this time of no electricity.
Yes, and I am so glad you brought that up because I have thought about these people who have a lot of food stored in their freezer and electricity goes off. And I know one of the things you're probably going to say is to leave the lid on and don't get in it. But even then, you worry about it.
That's absolutely correct. And according to the source, and I'm sorry, she sent that to me on my phone this morning, okay, and I left my phone in the vehicle. But anyway, according to that source, and that's like the FDA, USDA recommendations, 4 hours in a refrigerator for perishable foods, and they need to be thrown out. Make sure you smell things before you eat it. Make sure the texture of foods are good, that type of thing. In the freezer, you've got particularly if it is a full freezer, and I'm talking by a full freezer being filled, okay, with items, okay, everything cold and frozen. You've got a longer period of time, maybe 24 hours before they are going to be beyond. Need to cook things well. If you bring things out, decide to bring things out and prepare it. Make sure things are cooked well. Temperatures are high enough to destroy any pathogens that might be there. So forth. Just need to take care. Okay. Now, if it's a partially frozen, partially filled freezer, then you got less time. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I stopped by the Ag Center yesterday. Our offices, of course, were without electricity yesterday, and Ag Center, and we had some things in a freezer up there, and I got those out, but the freezer wasn't full, but you could already see where the ice on the sides of the freezer inside, that frosting, was already melting. So I got it out and took it to my house so that it will be fine since we have electricity. Right. And so thankfully I had room in my freezer.
There's just so much that we take for granted that the electricity is going to be on. That we flip that switch, the light's going to come on. That our freezer is going to preserve our food and all this kind of stuff. And whenever it's like that old saying, you don't miss your water till the well runs dry.
Amen. Amen. Yeah.
But again, I think I know that the Middle Tennessee Electric people are working as hard as they can. When you see, if you can just see all the destruction and the lines that are down and all this, you wonder how they do as good a job as they do.
Oh, my goodness gracious, yes. Okay, of course, I was out very early yesterday morning, just after daylight, and those people were already on the job. Our police officers, one of the first people I talked to yesterday morning had the road blocked, and I was trying to get to the office, actually. And so I stopped and asked this policeman if he had any idea how I could get routed around. He says, "Ma'am, I'm from Sumner County, and I don't know the area, but I'd be glad to help you if I could." So they already had people from other counties here helping out. There was such a need.
Yeah, right.
And I'm sure Middle Tennessee Electric has the same thing, people from other electric corporations around.
Yeah, of course, you need to stay away from it for the most part, but there's, I guess, the desire in all of us to at least see for ourselves a little bit of the damage and may hopefully stay out of the way, and that's what I tried to do, what little we did yesterday. But there's a lot required of these people in keeping law and order, and if we didn't have some restraints and so on, we'd have a lot of looting probably. Unfortunately, that's the bad part of human nature coming out.
That is true, and there were a lot of very large trees uprooted and across roads, as well as large power poles and signage here in Lebanon. Okay, a lot of large signage. Those things down close to the interstate there, where they try to get them up so high, and those were laying over flat as well. So in road, I went by Dunkin' Donuts yesterday morning, okay, was on 231 trying to get around, and there was a truck that apparently had been picked up and set down on some shrubs right in front of Dunkin' Donuts. It was obvious that he had not driven there, but the truck looked undamaged, all righty. But then, of course, Lowe's lost the top and then the damage over at Walmart.
Yeah, you should have got a picture of that. That might have been worth something.
Well, I was having difficulty.
Truck is lifted and lands on shrubbery. Oh, man.
Hey.
Do you have electricity this morning at the office?
Yes, I have electricity at the office. I think we probably benefited from being across the street from Quality Care. They had to get those services back on for them, and I think we benefited from that. you may have benefited here at the radio station from that as well. Okay,
could well
yes,
be.
uh-huh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now there's a lot of poles down, lines down along Sparta Pike there. That I'm sure will have to be replaced. But right now we have electricity. I don't know how they got it there, but they did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
Yeah. And we'll be in the office today. That's one of the things I want to say. We will be in the office today. Please call us if you need help with finding resources and so forth. So we'll be glad to help. As I said, I was out and about in the county yesterday trying to determine if there were any agricultural needs, that type of thing. So if there are those needs, those people that have in agriculture who have damages of various types, please call the Farm Service Agency and report those things, because it's important to them in collecting that information. And down the road, there may be programs to help with redoing things.
Do you know of any barns, big barns or outbuildings or this kind of thing, storage buildings that have been destroyed?
Yes. Okay. Several people have barns destroyed. Yes. Okay. That as a matter of fact, Bubba Pratt, okay, was one of them. He lost 2 barns. Okay, and it's amazing. The barn sits pretty close to the house, okay, not just adjacent, but very close to the house. Barn's gone, but house unscathed. Yeah. It's just amazing what these type of weather events.
Well, you probably, I don't know how many barns would house livestock anymore, but you have that. You have maybe hay stored in barns or some kind of buildings like.
Well, and that's when I visited Bubba. I mean, you could not even tell there was a barn over his hay, except in the way that the hay was laid, okay, and stacked, so that it would have appeared that it was in a barn, okay, but otherwise there was nothing there, total rubble, okay. So it is amazing, okay, what they can do, and I would assume that there's a flat what do they call that, line wind damage, okay?
Yeah, flat line wind.
Yep, okay, as opposed to a tornado. And, this stuff was torn up. These were trees that were twisted and those kind of things that I saw, particularly on the east end of the county yesterday. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think there had been some talk about maybe they're kind of trying to look at the damage and guess at how strong the wind was, but maybe as much as 160-mile-an-hour winds. Mm-hmm. That's and you wonder how anything withstands that.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Can the wind? I sometimes I can't believe the wind blows that hard. Okay, this is nature doing that. All righty.
Mm-hmm. And again, from what I've had from just about the John Tune Airport in I guess North Nashville, in a straight line pretty much up the interstate all the way to Cookeville, and for the most part that tornado stayed on the ground for that distance, which is unusual as well. A lot of times they'll dip and just go hopping and skipping along, but this one pretty much stayed on the ground from what reports.
I mean, the aerial photos from John Tune on, okay, it was just devastating. And again, my heart goes out to all of those people that are still, I know they don't have their heads wrapped around what they are going to do and the things that are available to them to help them do. It was amazing the number of volunteers that were out there. Did not know them at all, okay, but were out there yesterday helping, okay. My hat's off to them.
Well, if people have some questions, you'll be in the office. You can call, and you may not have all the answers, but you know where to get them.
That is, and that's what I say about extension period. We don't always know all the answers, but we're connected to those that do. So, we can we can help people find resources and so forth, find things that they need to know to get through this, okay? So we're glad to help.
All right, we got about 2 minutes. We can sort of recap here. Once again, for those who might not have been listening before, if you've got things in your refrigerator and the electricity has been off, they will last about how long?
About 4 hours in your refrigerator for perishable items. Okay, a little bit longer in your freezer, depending on how much you've got in there. But after about 24 hours, even in your freezer, food is going to become unsafe. Okay.
And you can, a lot of times, you can go by the smell as to whether it's deteriorated.
Yes. Okay. Make sure the texture, the feel of it. Okay, it doesn't have a slimy feel to it. Okay, an off odor of any kind. And if you decide to prepare something, make sure that it is well cooked, okay, before eating it.
Well, we know there's going to be some people who are going to be in this situation, probably already are, because electricity would already have been off more than 24 hours. And just a word to the wise here. And anything else?
One other thing I'd like to mention, okay, not this coming weekend, but the following, the 14th, 15th, is going to be Agribition, okay, at the James E. Ward Ag Center. Now, there was tornado damage on the Ag Center, but it was over in the Fiddler's Grove area and to the south side of the Ag Center. The barns on the north side of the Ag Center are just fine. So Agribition is going to go on. A great time to go out and visit and see some really quality cattle, some good cattle sales. Show will be on Friday, sales on Saturday. They have a website. Please look on Tennessee Agribition 2020 website. There will be a trade show as well, so an opportunity to visit with equipment dealers, so forth.
You may know more about this than I did. We managed to go into the Ag Center yesterday and drove through where we could. Fiddler's Grove, there was some people working out there doing a little repair. We saw some damage, but it wasn't the destruction that I had feared.
Right. Now there is quite a bit of severe damage right in Fiddler's Grove, okay? The Moss Museum, okay, Hales Moss's museum was hit, roof lifted, windows blown out. The Roland Barn, the old barn where they had the old equipment under it, the outside of it just collapsed on it. The logs are still there, but it's completely destroyed. There was a pole barn there close to the blacksmith shop. There's one wall standing on it. The train depot and that museum was hit and was badly damaged. Ooh. Other things that lost roofs. They were out there yesterday trying their best to get tarpaulins back on it so that they could salvage what they can.
Thank you for being with us. We've used our 30 minutes here. Well, thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Coleman.
All right, Ruth Carell from the UT Extension Office. That's part one of Coleman and Company. We've got more. Keep it here, FM 98.9.
And it's 7:32. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Absolute Kubota and Rental Redmax. Complete inventory, weed eaters, blowers, hedge trimmers for the commercial user and homeowner with up to a 4-year warranty. 1325 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. To just about finish the paperwork here on this rank 24 westbound here at 440. It's just busy out here where you would expect this time of the morning. 65 trying to get up through Brentwood, through Williamson County in general. Here comes some traffic through Mount Julia right now on I-40 coming in to Hermitage. Traffic's busy down Ellington Parkway right now as you try to get down from the top to the bottom. Gallatin Pike and Briley Parkway, we saw that crash just a few minutes ago. If you're buying or selling your home, call Nikisha and Tony Tate at Exit Master Realty. The Tate team. Call them today, 554-9795. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
This is Philip Etherly with Absolute Rental and Supply. Whether it's cleaning, painting, remodeling, or simply getting better organized, we have the tools and equipment to get the job done. Scaffolding, paint sprayers, ladders, power saws, portable heaters, temporary lighting, generators, hardwood floor staplers, from wallpaper steamers to bulldozers, Absolute Rental has what you need. Call 615-443-RENT. Absolute Rental and Supply. We have what you need.
Caring for a loved one is as natural as the weather. But just like the weather, one moment it's sunny, and the next you find yourself in the middle of a storm. So when it came time to take care of my dad, I knew I needed help. A reprieve from the storm, so to speak. That's when I found the Pavilion Senior Living. They have expertise and experience to weather the storms in your loved one's life. And now I can rest easy. Thank you, Pavilion Senior Living. You should visit thepavilionseniorliving.com to find out more.
Cumberland University Baseball is live this season on WANT and WCOR. Tune in for all of the home games and all of the Mid-South Conference matchups with Coach Woody Hunt's three-time champion Cumberland Phoenix baseball team. Mitch Walters brings you all of the action on WANT FM 98.9 and WCOR AM 1490. For a complete schedule, visit GoCumberlandAthletics.com. It's live Cumberland University Baseball on WANT and WCOR.
Today's forecast calls for a mix of sun and clouds with only a slight chance of rain. Highs this afternoon will top out in the mid-60s. For Thursday, scattered showers are in the forecast, so pack the umbrella. We do dry out by Friday, and we do look to have a nice weekend ahead as well. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty. Professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist TJ Scott.
And we continue here on this Wednesday morning. We're going to talk about absolute supply. And Phil Bethany joins us. Good morning.
Morning, Coleman.
Well, I asked you, had you been affected? And when you walked in here, you said yes, but you're affected business-wise. The storm didn't bother you.
No, we weren't bothered at all. We were out of power for a while, but once that got restored, we were able to use generators to get our computers up and stuff like that and get it going. So we were there and serving people. I mean, there was people coming in before 7 o'clock needing generators and so forth. So we were glad to be able to help them out.
Well, you're just Johnny to the rescue here.
Well, I don't know about that. But we try. We try to have what people need.
What do you expect today? Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. I've already heard. This morning I was in the store. People are calling in looking for the dehumidifiers and things like that to start drying it out now that they've got their houses covered up. So trying to get any water damage taken care of. But our chainsaw rentals went out yesterday. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more of that. Chippers, aerial lifts to get people up in there, get trees down and off of houses and stuff like that. It's kind of what we're anticipating.
Well, are you still? Is most of your stuff already spoken for? Or
no? Like yesterday evening, we had run out of generators, and I'm going over to Murfreesboro this morning to pick up a couple of generators, bring back here. So most like we do on most people is some people need them for a day and some people need them for a week, and so we can kind of start trying to make reservations and fill people's needs.
Phone been ringing off the wall?
Phone was ringing off the wall. The phone systems were down, and Jonathan Smith had them rolled to him. So all day long yesterday, every phone call that was coming in was going to his mobile. So he was very busy. I'm glad. I think he'll be very glad to have that going back into the system where he can spread it out a little bit today.
Oh, yeah. Well, you kind of improvise in a situation like this, and that's great improvisation or whatever the word is for him there. That no doubt helped you a lot.
It really does. And like I say, Jonathan's done a great job in getting involved. And he's more, I won't say computer literate than I am. He knows the functions of how to do things.
He's
like
younger,
that.
isn't he?
He's younger, so he does a much better job. But anyway, like I said, we're glad to be able to help people. And if anybody has any needs, please give us a call. And we'll see.
All right, that phone number 615-443-RENT, and if today is as good a day as him to bear down on that. Because
exactly.
If you need anything you think Philip might have, give him a call and find out. 615-443-RENT. But of course, you still have your website, and you can get an idea there, but you can't do the purchase.
Cannot make a reservation. That's right. You got to give us a call.
Well, it's good to know that you weren't damaged. Your business wasn't damaged at all by the storm, and you were there to that way you can help people who do have a problem.
Exactly. Yeah, and it really is. We're a community. We're a service business, and that's what we're here for to do is to help everybody.
And if you're out of anything, you'll try to replace it. But I mean, it's just. You just got so much that it'll only go so far, but maybe somebody will hurry up and bring it back.
Exactly. Well, as people's needs change, I mean, now people's powers are coming back on, and more Middle Tennessee gets their power up, the less they're going to need for the generator. So it's kind of a moving deal, just constantly moving in and out.
Well, anything you and I don't know, we've given you enough time here this morning, but
we're fine. Just give us a call if you have any questions, you have any needs. Give us a call 443-RENT, We'll be glad to take care of you.
Should tell the location. I don't think I've mentioned that at all. You're located
1325 West Main Street.
1325 West Main, and if you're a man, you want to know that it's
we're right in behind Advanced Auto Parts of Valvoline, and then most of the ladies recognize that we're in behind Ruby Tuesdays. So
that is the location. That's going around the world to tell you, but it's a good way to remember.
It is,
and we appreciate you being here every Wednesday and telling us all about it. Absolute Rental and Supply are here in Lebanon, Tennessee. Philip Etherly. 615-443-RENT. Have a good one.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're about 22 and a half before the hour. Lebanon Mayor Bernie Ash joins us this morning, and he's brought a special guest with him who's one of our regulars as well. But, Mayor, good morning to you.
Good morning, Coleman.
Let's do two things, and then we'll leave the rest of the thing to talk about all that's happened here. And you had a city council meeting last night.
No, we canceled it last
Okay,
night.
all right, get that out of the way. There was no meeting, so nothing to talk about there.
No,
all right, we did have an election yesterday.
Yes.
And I just want to, I think when I was doing this kind of off the top of my head at the beginning, I did not mention that Stephen Goodall won the Republican nomination for property assessor, and there's nobody qualified for the general election, so he's the same as reelected. And really, it was a landslide victory for Stephen Goodall. In the judgeship, the Republican nomination here in Wilson County went to Mr. Collins, winning over McBrien and Cripps. But I don't know how the other two counties that had votes in that went. But I'm assuming unless there was a big increase that Collins will get the nomination. The sales tax referendum passed, something about like 55% to 45% in favor. And then in the race for Gary Keith's seat on the county commission, Rusty Keith defeated Joe Ali for that. Yes. So I don't have the other to give you, but that's the gist of it. Now, Mayor, you have brought our friend and information officer for the police department with us this morning.
Absolutely.
So you can introduce him, or I'm ready to listen to y'all.
Okay, yeah, I did. When I came on this morning, I knew that we were going to talk about the tornado and the damage that it did yesterday, and I thought, well, let's see if we can't get our information officer from the police department, PJ Hardy, and get the information straight from the source. Before we turn it over to PJ, I want to thank everybody at the City of Lebanon. You can rest assured that you're in good hands with the people that we have working at the city. From the police department, the fire department, public services, Mike Justice and Chris Dow did an amazing job yesterday taking care of every emergency that came about. Also, Jeff Baines, who is our public services director, he was Johnny on the spot. Had Lee Clark and Jerry Snodgrass with maintenance department and the gas department, water department was there. Everybody was out working hard to open the streets, get the brush removed from the streets. A lot of lights down, traffic lights down, and everybody did their part. And we had churches who were opening up to house people for the night, and a lot of people calling in wanting to help. So with that, I'll turn it over to P.J. Hardy, the information officer for the police department.
Good morning. Welcome again.
Good morning, Coleman.
You have had a busy. Did you get any sleep last night?
I did. I finally got to go home last night and got some sleep, and got up and going this morning.
Can you tell us the worst hit that we took here in the city limits of Lebanon? It's a pretty big area, but where were we hardest hit, maybe?
So if you were to take an aerial view, and if you actually started on the east side of Mount Juliet by Golden Bear Parkway, it came through that direction, right through our Eastgate Industrial Park. It pretty much leveled the entire industrial park. There are some buildings standing, but there's extensive damage. It went from there across the street, across 109, down Leeville Pike, struck several homes on Leeville Pike. There in Stonehenge, the homes directly off of Leeville Pike were pretty much flattened. It continued its path into Stone Bridge, the subdivision off of Leeville Pike there. Took out several structures of that building. Everything basically on the south side of the property was affected.
and then it continued its path all the way down Leeville Pike. It cut over behind Leeville Pike. Then it headed back up towards the airport, and then it basically just followed along the interstate, give or take 200 yards either direction. And it was massive destruction. It really was. The trees, the structures that were taken down, you could tell this had a lot of force behind it. Someone was saying yesterday that, and I can't confirm this, but they were saying it was about 500 yards wide. This is a rather large strip of tornado activity, just barreling down the road.
The area around Lowe's and Walmart was off limits yesterday. You couldn't go there on South Cumberland. And what about damage to those?
Yeah, unfortunately, they were, and I want to stress this, they called us and said, hey, listen, we took damage, but we are open for business. We will, help out any way that we can. But unfortunately, both those places were impacted by either downed trees, and I'm talking about large trees, or power outages. Middle Tennessee Electric said, as much as we would love to be able to give you access to that location, but with the live wires that are hanging everywhere and the debris and whatnot, it's just not safe. There's no reason to take risks to add further risk to already a bad situation. So they were impacted and were unable to get some of the supplies out to folks that may have needed it. But I think we're in good shape this morning. I think that we can, everyone's open back for business.
Are there any roads that are just totally inaccessible this morning, or you got them blocked off?
Eastgate Boulevard will remain blocked off probably for the duration. There's really not any businesses that can actually operate down in that area. One, because there's still no power. And two, it's just, almost every business was affected in that area, other than maybe cleanup and, that sort of thing.
What about traffic lights now? Do we have many that are still out?
We still have the light situation at 109 and Leeville Pike and Eastgate Boulevard. The traffic was really heavy this morning coming from the north, Gallatin, people trying to get to the interstate. So please be patient. It's gonna take a minute. Part of our two main issues we had yesterday kind of tied in with the TVA. Their power structure went out, and we feed, Middle Tennessee Electric feeds off of them. So it's kind of, wait for them to get theirs squared away, and then we can get ours squared away. So it's going to take a day or two for us to do that. But they were able to restore power to a lot of folks yesterday in a lot of areas. There's still some that are impacted this morning. And like we said, we thank them for their patience, and we'll get through this.
Okay, it's time for us to take a break. Information Officer Sergeant P.J. Hardy's with us. Mayor Bernie Ash is here, and we've got a lot more to talk about. So stay with us here on FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:46. Let's see what's happening on the roadways thanks to Bates Ford. And they've got the low price tire guarantee on all tires every day. Up to 30 days after the sale, there'll be any competitor's pricing on the tires they sell. 1673 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Well, good morning. It's busy out here, but it is moving on. 65 southbound down through Madison right now. OHB and Nolensville Pike near that Lowe's. They're working a two-car crash at that location. Heavy traffic flow now up through Williamson County as we check it out live. 65 northbound from Franklin there into Brentwood. Nash Painting, serving families and businesses throughout Middle Tennessee. Call Nash Painting today. Get a 10% discount at 615-85-PAINT. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
This is Philip Etherly with Absolute Rental and Supply. Whether it's cleaning, painting, remodeling, or simply getting better organized, we have the tools and equipment to get the job done. Scaffolding, paint sprayers, ladders, power saws, portable heaters, temporary lighting, generators, hardwood floor staplers. From wallpaper steamers to bulldozers, Absolute Rental has what you need. Call 615-443-RENT. Absolute Rental and Supply. We have what you need.
The Pavilion Senior Living residents are inviting you to become their new neighbor. If you're looking for a sign to move, call us at 444-5556 to learn more about the details. Or go to thepavilionseniorliving.com for more information. Or better yet, just drop by 1408 Medical Center Drive right behind Tenova Hospital and see for yourself. You should move here.
Cumberland University Baseball is live this season on WANT and WCOR. Tune in for all of the home games and all of the Mid-South Conference matchups with Coach Woody Hunt's three-time champion Cumberland Phoenix baseball team. Mitch Walters brings you all of the action on WANT FM 98.9 and WCOR AM 1490. For a complete schedule, visit GoCumberlandAthletics.com. It's live Cumberland University Baseball on WANT and WCOR.
Today's forecast calls for a mix of sun and clouds with only a slight chance of rain. Highs this afternoon will top out in the mid-60s. For Thursday, scattered showers are in the forecast, so pack the umbrella. We do dry out by Friday, and we do look to have a nice weekend ahead as well. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty. Professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist TJ Scott.
Coleman and Company, it is a Wednesday, and the sun is shining, and we are here this morning with Attorney Ash and with Lebanon Police Information Officer Sergeant P.J. Hardy. I don't know what else to ask, but you've got a wealth of information. You've seen it. You've been a part of all of this, P.J., really. I mean, it's your job, but and it's not a pleasant thing, but you've been whoever. All the TV stations have asked you to tell us what's happening and reporting on all this. Have you seen anything like this before, really?
Well, not in our backyard. We did experience what tornado damage could do several years ago in Gallatin. Sumner County had their tornadoes up there. Several of us were asked to go up and help them folks out. And in our situation here, they've reciprocated. So they've sent officers down here to help us out. As a matter of fact, lots of agencies have, and I want to make sure that we thank them. Hendersonville PD, Portland Police Department, Tennessee Highway Patrol, and, as I mentioned, Gallatin, Franklin Police Department, and Brentwood Police Department. They have all sent members from their department down to help us. You know, if they can at least cover those intersections that maybe don't have lights and they can direct traffic and that sort of thing, then we can be free to answer calls, emergency calls, and continue search operations.
Well, if you will, and I may have sort of asked this before, but compare maybe today, how it's going to be today with yesterday, and then improvements or maybe less restrictions or whatever.
Yeah. Well, yesterday, just like our wonderful fire department did, they put out fires and we put out fires. And basically we were responded to emergency situations, emergency calls, those areas that had the most impact of stress. So if there were live power lines down somewhere, if there was any type of trap people or personnel or whatnot, we did that yesterday. And as day broke, we were able to then see, because we were really working in the dark. You know, this all occurred, in the early morning hours in the dark. So once daylight broke, we were able to kind of see what we were dealing with. We continued that process of putting out, small fires, as we'll call them, here and there. And basically, late yesterday, throughout today, and moving forward, it's all going to be about just the recovery process and how we can help get things cleaned up. We will continue searching areas that we may not have access to in the last 24 to 48 hours. And we'll continue to, just make sure that everyone that is everyone is accounted for. And if not, we'll continue that search.
Let me ask this, as far as you know. I mean, we can't have the traffic lights working if there's not electricity. So that's number one. But where the electricity is available, are we okay? Is traffic moving there? Is there any restrictions that you know of where electricity is back on?
Well, in the areas that have been restored, they're good to go. Yesterday, West Main, all the way down up and down West Main, there was no power. But this morning, it's fine. There's no traffic issues. There's no restrictions in that area. Our two main problematic areas are going to be South Hartman, close by the interstate, by Home Depot and the new hotels and whatnot. That's still going to be out. It may be out for a little while. And then, of course, the 109 Eastgate, Leeville Pike area. So the only travel restriction area right now is going to be Eastgate Boulevard. Stonebridge and Stonehenge, some of those subdivisions off of Leeville Pike, we're going to restrict traffic in and out to just those folks that live there or are coming to help, contractors and whatnot. That way there's no undue, traffic due to, people just wanting to gawk and look at the damage and that sort of thing. Because those folks really need to take some time to kind of recoup and reevaluate what they have. And
let me ask another thing. A lot of times, a situation like this lends itself to people wanting to be looters and doing things they definitely shouldn't anytime, but taking advantage of others. Have we had any of that to speak of? Any that you know of?
Well, unfortunately, early on, the first night, first morning, I should say, we did have someone picking up metal that obviously wasn't, didn't belong to him, and so we had to address that situation. And so I think there were maybe a couple little minor incidences, but no major, riot type, looting type situations. And that's kind of what we're trying to avoid by having these static posts with these officers in these areas to make sure that no one comes in and does that sort of activity. And again, to keep kind of the pressure off of the folks that were impacted so that they don't, there's not extra traffic, there's not extra people maybe asking questions or whatnot, to give them the time to take care of what they need to take care of.
Do you know of any lines that are down near the roads or anything people should be concerned about? There's all that been taken care of?
Again, I think other than the Eastgate Boulevard area, I think pretty much everywhere else has been cleared off. So I'm not aware of anything in particular. So in talking about people in these situations, a lot of folks have asked how they can help. Mm-hmm. And so this morning, we put it out yesterday in one of our Facebook Live interviews that this morning, if you can volunteer and you'd like to help, if you would, meet at the police department, 406 Tennessee Boulevard, park in the ball fields directly behind the police department and just walk down to our department. But we've got buses available. We're going to load up folks from the police department and take them into these areas that were most affected. And really, there's no need to bring chainsaws and all, heavy equipment and all that sort of stuff. We need bodies and hands that are protected, well protected by gloves. So make sure you bring a good pair of gloves. But we'll provide all the trash receptacles and bags and that sort of thing.
And what time is that meeting?
At 9 o'clock this morning.
9 o'clock. So there's time if you can give some hours today. Meet at 9 o'clock at the police department. Park at the ballpark.
Correct. Park at the ballpark and walk down. If you want to pre-register for that, just text your name and phone number. I'll give you a number. It's 615-499-1561. Again, that's 615-499-1561. Just text your name and number to that. You'll be added to the list, and you can pre-register, but you don't have to. You can just show up at 9 o'clock. If you can't get there at 9 o'clock and you want to, you can come later in the morning or afternoon, you can still do that, and we'll see if we can find something for you to do. It's kind of a fine line between being able to accept folks that want to help and volunteer and get out into our community, but it's another thing that we have to kind of keep control over and make sure that process is going well. So we want to make sure that it's organized and everybody has an assignment to do, and we would hate for folks to kind of just show up and sit around and not have anything to do. Yeah. So the closer to 9 o'clock you can get there, the better. That would be great.
Mayor, we didn't let you say a lot this morning, but
that's right.
This man's pretty much got all the answers. But really, you've been here, you've seen it all since it came through yesterday morning.
Yeah, and I've seen the response, and I'm going to have to reiterate what the mayor said. Our public services in the city of Lebanon are absolutely amazing. All the folks at Public Works, Street Department, LFD. Of course, ourselves, our officers, our command staff, we practice for these things, and we have a mobile command unit, and we have policies that say, you do this, that, and the other. But until you're actually in that situation, that's where the men and the boys are separated, and the girls and the women. And last night, they really stepped up to the plate.
Well, I keep wondering how long till we kind of get back to normal, whatever normal is, but I got an idea with the sun shining today, and it's not going to rain. Apparently, there's a lot of progress going to be made.
We'll get a lot of progress done today, and like I said, we're waiting on the progress of TVA and Middle Tennessee Electric. As soon as they can get their stuff going, we'll get the roads cleared. The public services will continue to do their amazing job to make sure all the roadways are cleared and paths are made, and so yeah, I would anticipate probably another day or two of us being in this special operations mode, and hopefully we can kind of resume as far as the day-to-day back to normal process after that. But for a lot of people, this is going to impact them for weeks and months.
Yeah.
Mayor, you got anything you want to add to that?
Again, to just thank the police, fire, and the public works department. This is the first time I've had a chance to see them in action in a situation like this, and I'm much impressed. One last thing, Mayor Hutto and myself will meet this morning to sign paperwork declaring a state of emergency for Wilson County so that we can get into some state and federal funds to help us finance some of this.
Well, we appreciate you being here. We'll remind everybody again, there was no city council meeting last night. This was your time to come and report about that. But I guess whatever would have been on the agenda last night will just shift over to the next meeting.
That's right. We had a light agenda anyway, but we will pick it up at our next meeting.
Got a minute and a half left here. PJ, Sergeant PJ Hardy, if you want to kind of summarize anything you want to say in the last minute or so, take off.
Sure. We've got also, I wanted to remind folks, we are asking that they reserve as much water use as possible to conserve that use. There's not an issue. The water is perfectly fine. It's perfectly clean. It's in good capacity. But under these circumstances, if we have a situation happen, we just want to make sure that everybody can be serviced. So just try to conserve the best that you can. Let's not wash our cars. Let's not do some of the ancillary things that we might do with water under other situations. Right. Outside of that, we thank everyone for their patience, and we will get through this, and we will rebuild. Our city is amazing with the folks that live here and the folks that work for the city, and together we'll get through this.
Well, I just appreciate you being able to take time here. I know the television's occupied a lot of your time. You're the public information officer, but you have a wealth of information to share with all of us, and thanks for coming out this morning. And Mayor, thanks for your thoughtfulness in asking him to come. It's hard to tell the mayor no.
This is true.
Thank you all very much. We appreciate it. That's going to do it for a Wednesday. Join us tomorrow for Coleman & Company. Till then, I wish you a wonderful day.